Well, what a good surprise we had this morning when we got to read a new letter from the chairman, Chris Roberts himself. And usually when we get these letters, it's to make announcements of what is to come. And as you will see, once more, Chris did not disappoint. Before we start, a quick request, guys. I've noticed in my analytics that only half of my viewers who watch the videos on the channel are subscribed, so please, if you like the content and haven't done so, consider hitting that subscribe button, as it tremendously helps with the YouTube algorithm, and therefore it helps the channel. It doesn't cost anything and it's hugely appreciated. Also, if you don't have Star Citizen, or maybe you'd like to get it, or you're contemplating having an alt account, why not using the referral code on top right here, which will get you 5,000 credits in game and also will help the channel. Thank you so much for your patience. Now let's get to Chris's letter. So, we start with a recap of how last year's persistent entity streaming was a major milestone for the development of server meshing. In fact, the hardest one to achieve, according to Chris. The road was bumpy after the release because, of course, they had not anticipated some of the players' actions and their consequences. For example, how players crash their ships, or how the wrecks just randomly stay there and prevent players from spawning their ships, and how, therefore, this would impact the gameplay of the overall player base. They have spent the last year working on polishing this tech, making sure that it remained fun for everyone. Chris also did a little recap of the gameplay that persistent entity streaming made possible, including physicalized cargo, which has indeed made the community experience some amazing moments in the verse, especially when bounty hunting was generating a lot of valuable cargo. Chris then moves on to the future, starting with Squadron 42, as he announced that we will definitely hear more of Star Citizen's single-player campaign during this year's CitizenCon. Personally, I have a feeling that after over a year of polishing, this is when we will be hearing about the release date of the game. I guess that we are just going to have to wait and see if that's really the case or not, and let me know in the comment section down below what you think we will learn about Squadron 42 at this year's CitizenCon. Chris also said that the team is preparing to expand the persistent universe into multiple star systems. Obviously, we're talking about Pyro, but could we hear about other systems soon in the future? The system Nyx has been worked on, that's something that we have known for quite a few years as well, but could we also hear from other star systems, for example Odin, which is being done for Squadron 42? Also, what about the much anticipated Terra system? Not only is this planet going to be phenomenal because it's going to be an Earth-like planet, but also the Terra system is very important because it's going to be a high security system, which is going to be good for players who are more into PvE action and not necessarily into PvP and are looking for that kind of security. Then Chris moved on to talk about server meshing and how successful its tests in Evocati have been. A big shout out to Mr. Trash, whom Chris believes was the first player to actually use a jump gate. We then hear from Benoit Beauséjour, who gives us a quick recap of what is going to happen in the near future with the new tech. First, we will have the replication layer coming to Star Citizen Alpha 3.23, which will allow us to quickly recover from a 30k error, or simply put, a server crash without losing our gameplay session. But then, of course, server meshing will come with Star Citizen Alpha 4.0 and the introduction of Pyro and the jump gates. With 4.0, several servers will be able to mesh, forming a single shard. Benoit then confirmed that the player capacity per server will also increase, as we saw in the latest Evocati tests, and this is possible thanks to the replication layer, which is considerably going to lower the workload that the servers are going to have to handle. Benoit also said that in the coming weeks or month, more server meshing tests will happen in which local areas within a single star system, like a planet or a landing zone, will have their own dedicated server, and he hopes that we'll be able to seamlessly transition between each of these zones. This is going to be the next major evolution of server meshing, and I think that we should be expecting to see these changes as early as Star Citizen Alpha 4.1, since Benoit is talking about weeks here, so the time frame seems to be rather fast. But What about what will happen next? Server meshing is the last piece of the puzzle for the final vision of what Star Citizen ought to be, after all. Well, Chris is then talking about the future, which will take the form of Star Citizen version 1.0. And for 1.0 to become a reality, Chris and Richard Trier have created a roadmap that includes some major gameplay elements that are still missing for the game to be called feature complete for a 1.0 release, and these include, for example, base building and crafting, as well as the economy, which is still in its infancy stage. Unfortunately, no actual plans for the road to 1.0 was actually revealed, but Chris did promise that he would do so later this year, and no doubt that it will happen at this year's CitizenCon. To finish, Chris acknowledged Todd Papy's incredible contribution to the project and confirmed he had to leave and return to the US for family reasons. Of course, we wish Todd all the best, and I want to reiterate here what we said on the channel before, that he will be missed and his work on Star Citizen will forever be remembered. Thank you, Todd, and farewell. With that comes the end of this video. Don't forget that we have a giveaway this month, as we are giving away a Vanguard Warden with LTI, and all you need to do is to become a Patreon or a YouTube member and enter your name right there on Discord, or just join our video sharing contest for free. That also helps the channel a lot. Thank you so much for watching. A big shout out to Deplorable, Infidel, Dr. Fabin, Zero Crusher, and Ducky2Ducker. I have been Irad, and I will see you guys in the next one.